Tomorrow's 9/11, and what I want to talk about is 9/11, how it affected Americans' thinking about Arabs and Muslims in general, and what is happening right now in Gaza. As a New Yorker, as an American, as a patriot, I always honor 9/11. In fact, every year around 9/11, about the week before, I always read a lot about it, even though I've read so much about it already, but you can always find a new story or a new person's perspective. I always rewatch all the documentaries or new documentaries that are available. And despite the fact that I do this every single year, and I see it every single year, no matter how much of the footage that I see or the stories that I see, it never doesn't affect me. I used to work in the financial district right near that church in one of the office buildings. And just a side note, why does Google suck now? I know that seems super random, but it took me 9 years to find this photo, okay? I don't understand how AI and everything keeps advancing technology-wise, but Google keeps getting worse and worse. There are a million photos from St. Paul's Church on the day of 9/11. So many photos of like smoke surrounding it after the towers fell, and it literally took me like 15 minutes just to find this one photo. What happened to Google? And I was using this photo because I can see this from right outside my apartment. Every single year, they put those lights up and you can see it days before and the day of from anywhere in New York. The reason why I'm prefacing all of that is because I know that what I'm about to say, there's going to be a bunch of hacks who are going to be like, you're just a leftist that hates America. Bitch, be gone. I will not be told by anybody how to feel about my country that I love. And it is precisely because I love it that I criticize it. So as we all know, there's been a genocide going on in Gaza for the last 11 months. And so since tomorrow is 9/11, you have a bunch of hacks online and all over the media trying to rev up the Islamophobia. And what I personally got a lot on my Twitter today was a clip that I actually had never seen before. A bunch of Zionists went into my comments and stuff because they know how I feel, and they started tagging me in this video of Palestinians celebrating 9/11 the day of. This is a report from ABC News the day after 9/11.
From the West Bank, these are Palestinian celebrations in the wake of Tuesday's terror attacks in the United States. How apparently Palestinians took to the street chanting, "God is great." People were throwing candy, distributing candy to passersby. The U.S. government obviously has become increasingly unpopular, particularly in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, because Palestinians feel that the U.S. government has sided with Israel. One man, Nawal Abdel Fattah, wearing a long black dress, threw sweets in the air saying, actually that's a woman, pardon me, saying she was happy because, quote, America is the head of the snake. America always stands by Israel in its war against us. Meanwhile, Yasser Arafat...
So that's the video, and that's the one they keep tagging me in as being some kind of a gotcha. They're saying Allahu Akbar or God is great in the video over and over again. And it made me think about the Islamophobic indoctrination that I had. Because after 9/11 happened, the Islamophobia in this country was insane. If you were a teenager or a kid or a young person after 9/11, you could not escape that indoctrination. After the hysteria after 9/11, the suspicion and the fear of anyone Muslim or Arab. Like, I used to not know what Allahu Akbar meant. I didn't know it meant God is great. I just thought terrorist when I heard it. Because it was that kind of footage that they would play over and over and over again on the news, that you would hear people talk about, pundits talk about, politicians. So I didn't even know that it meant God was great. I just thought it meant terrorist. And that's the association that many of us here in the United States, many of us, especially white people in the United States, had when we would hear anything about Muslims or Arabs. We would think Muslim, Arab, terrorist. And you watch that footage, and a lot of people who think it's a gotcha are like, see, they're celebrating. But if you actually listen to what the news anchor said, she explains why. It wasn't, they hate us because they hate us because of our freedoms. The woman she quoted said, America is the head of the snake, they always take the side of Israel. Where's the lie? I didn't know that. But on top of that, even when we did know or did learn about that, as we call it here, Israel-Palestine conflict, we would just learn that they were a bunch of Jew-hating, anti-Semitic, freedom-hating terrorists that just wanted to kill people for the sake of killing them because they're evil and Arab. But that woman literally said it. We don't like them because they are the head of the snake and they take the side of the country that is occupying us and oppressing us. Were they supposed to like them? Just really? Are they supposed to love them? Like, I don't understand. As an adult now, although I shouldn't say as an adult because it's all adults that are sending me this shit as some kind of gotcha. It's not a gotcha. And I'm not even defending it or saying I love it, but I understand why now. There's a difference between, oh, it's so based. I'm saying it's great that they did that. Of course, I don't think it's great, but I understand now why they did. Why would they love us? Okay? When it was announced that Osama bin Laden had been killed, there were Americans dancing and cheering in the streets. Am I shocked by that? No, of course not. I understand why they were. They were because of 9/11. And in the very same way, the reason why some of those Palestinians were cheering in the streets was because they understood that America is the funder and the main defender, the main bodyguard of the Israeli regime that always defends and gives them money and makes it so that they're never held accountable. They never get held accountable because they've got the protection of the United States. So why wouldn't they hate us? Again, I'm not saying I'm glad about it, but I understand now why they do, or why they celebrated after 9/11. It's not because they're just Arab terrorists that hate us because they hate us. They had a fucking legitimate reason to be unhappy with us. And in the same way that we Americans celebrated once Osama bin Laden was killed because we wanted justice and revenge for what happened to us on 9/11, what they're doing is no different. No different. So it's not a gotcha. It's not the own that you think it is. If anything, me watching this, and I'd never seen it before. This was the first time that I'd seen this footage. I thought, yeah, I get it. I understand. And in fact, if you actually listen to the report, she explains why they are. She talks about the cover that the U.S. runs for the Israeli regime and that the Palestinians fully understood that and don't like it. And that's why they were celebrating. Wouldn't you not like the country that was running cover and financially supporting the country that was constantly killing your people? Are the Palestinians supposed to love them? Love us? Ridiculous. No one else would be held to that standard. We certainly would never hold ourselves to that standard. And what you should think about is that as traumatic as 9/11 was for so many people in the entire country, and it was, I know people who still get super triggered just hearing a siren. But imagine you're a Gazan and you hear drones buzzing around you 24/7. As traumatic as 9/11 was, Palestinians go through that every day.